This is Providence Television International, the game changer. Stand by for the next program.
On the world news, 18 killed in Israeli strike on West Bank's Tulkarem refugee camp, and at least 78 people killed after boat capsizes in Democratic Republic of Congo. This is the world news. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on the World News on Providence Television International. Edna Caesar Garrick is my name. And now the details. The Palestinian Ministry of Health said at least 18 people have been killed in an Israeli air attack on the Tulkarem refugee camp in the occupied West Bank. The Israeli military said that its fighter jet had carried out the attack on Thursday in coordination with Israel Internal Security Service, the Shin Bet. The army said in a latest statement that it has targeted the head of Hamas infrastructure in Tulkarem. The Palestinian group did not immediately comment on Israel's military claim. The area was filled with massive piles of wreckage and fires had broken out. Rescuers could be seen rushing injured victims to receive medical care. Israeli military raids and attack have surged across the occupied West Bank since Israel launched its war on Gaza Strip in October 2023. Between October 7 of last year and the end of September, 695 Palestinians have been killed in the West Bank. The vast majority of people were killed by the Israeli army, while a dozen were killed by Israeli settlers. The Tulkarem refugee camp is home to more than 21,000 people living in an area of only 0.18 square kilometers, according to the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees. More than 41,700 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli attack on the Gaza Strip since October. Israel in recent weeks also launched aerial and ground attack in Lebanon as a year of cross-border firing between Israeli forces and the Lebanese group Hezbollah escalated last month. Hundreds of thousands of people have been displaced by Israel's continued bombardment of the countries, while thousands have been killed and injured. Up to 600 people were shot dead in a matter of hours by Al-Qaeda-linked militants in an August attack on a town in Burkina Faso, according to a French government security assessment that nearly doubles the death toll cited in the earlier report. The news figure could make the assault, in which civilians were shot dead as they dug trenches to defend the remote town of Basaloro, one of the deadliest single attacks in Africa in recent details. Militants from Jamaat Nusra al-Islam were Muslimi, JNIM, and Al-Qaeda affiliates based in Mali and active in Burkina Faso, opened fire methodically as they swept into the outskirts of Balalogo on motorcycles to shut down villagers who lay helpless in the freshly upturned dirt of the trench. According to several videos of August 24 attack, many of the dead were women and children, and the footage is punctuated by the sound of automatic gunfire and streams of victims as they are shot while apparently trying to play dead. The horrific death toll, if the French government estimate is confirmed, will mark an unusual brutal moment in the Sahel and increasingly lawless sweat of West Africa, just south of the Sahara, where security projects SPARE, headed by the US and French militaries, have struggled to slow the march of jihadists. A series of coups across Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger led to departure of French and American forces. The UN initially estimated the death toll was at least 200. JNIM said it has killed nearly 300 people, but claimed it has targeted militia members affiliated with the army rather than civilians. A provincial governor said at least 78 people have died after a boat capsized in Lake Kivu in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Governor of South Kivu Province, Jane Jacques Purisi, said that 278 people had been on board the boat before it overturned. He also said at least 58 people had been rescued. The boat, which had come from the town of Minova in South Kivu Province, sank on Thursday morning only 100 meters from its destination at the shore of Goma. An increasing number of people have opted to cross the northern tip of Lake Kivu by boat to reach Goma in often overcrowded vessels to avoid land travel in an area prone to fighting between Congolese government forces and M23 rebels. Since M23 launched an offensive in late 2021, the group has seized large part of territory in the eastern DRC, increasing its military presence and the number of armed groups in the area. If you are just joining us, this is the World News on Providence Television International. Flash floods swept through a popular elephant sanctuary in the northern Thailand on Thursday, forcing the evacuation of about 100 elephants and trapping dozens of tourists amid urgent pleas of help. Dramatic videos and images from the Elephant Nature Park near the city of Chiang Mai show dozens of elephants wading through belly-deep waters to find safety on higher grounds. While many of the animals found shelter on a nearby mountain overnight on Thursday, come morning, northern Thailand has suffered severe flooding and landslide in recent weeks due to torrential rains brought by Typhoon Yagi, Asia's most powerful storm this year, which left dozens dead as it swept across the region in mid-September. Authorities in Chiang Mai, a popular tourist destination in Thailand, have issued alerts for potential flooding as water levels along the Ping River, which was through the city, reached dangerous levels, with extensive flooding around the park and water still rising. The sanctuary's founder said they are facing the unwelcome prospect of having to evacuate the animals a second time. About 30 foreign volunteers are also trapped at the sanctuary, including 5 Americans, some of whom have been working at the park for several weeks. The Elephant Nature Park is an elephant rescue and rehabilitation center in the Chiang Mai countryside that has rescued more than 200 elephants from tourism and logging industries since its inception in 1990s. It also runs tour and voluntary programs that allow visitors to observe the animal to help with conservative work. And away from the foreign scene now, back home, President Bola Tinubu may bar revenue-generating agencies from collecting revenues on behalf of the federal government as it plans to introduce a single agency, Nigeria Revenue Service, to handle the tax. This scheme, as the federal government instituted a comprehensive set of fresh tax reforms aimed at significantly boosting revenue collection. The reform designed to enhance the efficiency of collecting direct taxes, along with various levies that are imposed on behalf of the government, will bar the Nigerian Customs Service, Nigerian Port Authority, and 60 other revenue collection agencies from participating in revenue collection activities, but will lead to the creation of the Nigerian Revenue Service. By implementing these changes, the government seeks to streamline the tax collection process, ensuring that all taxable entities contribute a fair share and that the revenue generated is minimized to support public services and infrastructure development. The policy directive was instituted on Thursday when the president forwarded 4 executive bills to the National Assembly for consideration, aiming to implement significant tax reform. Justice Evelyn Mahal of the Federal High Court in Abuja has issued an order restraining the Directorate of Road Traffic Services, popularly known as the Vehicle Inspection Office (VIO), from stopping, impounding, or confiscating vehicles on the road. The court has barred the Road Traffic Services from imposing fines on motorists. The judgment, which was delivered by Justice Mahal Wednesday, stemmed from a fundamental rights enforcement suit filed by a human rights activist and public interest attorney Abubakar Mashal. Justice Maha in the judgment agreed that there is no legal basis for the VIO and its officials to impound, confiscate vehicles, or to levy fines against motorists, stressing that such actions are wrongful, oppressive, and unlawful. An authority in reproductive health, Professor Alfred Ehigiegbe, has called on members of the society the disease from apportioning 100% blame on women who are unable to get pregnant, as a large number of men also suffer infertility problems. Professor Egiegbe, professor of obstetrics and gynecology disclosed this during an exclusive interview session with Providence Television International. Professor Egiegba also postulated that the ability of a woman getting pregnant is a game of chance, noting that conception can still be delayed for up to 5 years, regardless of the fact that both couple are medically certified to be fertile. The professor, however, enjoined couple with issues bordering on conception to avail themselves of recent breakthrough in medicine, stating that in recent times there is no case of infertility that medical science cannot resolve.
That is treated or
Restricted.
yes.
Is it only for women or
No.
also for men?
It takes the a normal or healthy husband and a healthy wife to produce a baby. Even when they are not married, it takes a healthy woman and a healthy man to produce a baby. Unfortunately, the society looks at infertility more like the problem of the woman. It is not the problem of the woman. In fact, infertility is caused. If you look at 100 couples who cannot become pregnant, and you find out, you do the test to find out why, it's only.
Professor Alfred Egiegba is the co-founder Ebony Medical Center in Benin. An economist based Mark Rewane has predicted an increase in food inflation over the coming weeks in Nigeria. Mr. Rewane specifically highlighted the soaring price of beans, citing various factors for the price hike, to include devastating floods that has ravaged many farms, elevated transportation costs, and a spike in petrol prices. He noted that while certain food items like onions and rice have experienced slight price drop, beans has been a significant increase, making the commodity increasingly unaffordable. The economist, however, expressed optimism that as imported goods benefiting from duty waivers start arriving in the country, prices of foodstuff are expected to decrease. Vice Chancellor of federal and state-owned universities across the nations have been urged to generate their own electric power supply as a means of drastically cut down on electricity bill. The call was made by the chairman, Chief Executive Officer, Providence Television International, Dr. Emmanuel Igariva, during an exclusive interview session on the station. Dr. Igariva, while reacting to the news of some universities paying as much as 300 million naira for electricity bills, noted that generation of power by universities independent of national-owned power distribution company will go a long way in reducing the debt burden created by electricity bills. He further noted that alumni associations should be intensify their welfare packages for their various alma mater, noting that the monthly overhead provided to university by the federal government is not enough to run the affairs of any university. Dr. Iwariwa also noted that a reduction in school fees, especially by federal-owned universities, will go a long way in lifting the burden of exorbitant school fees from parents and guardians.
Most universities pay 300 million naira for electricity monthly. The ASU is also saying that government only gives 15 million naira for overhead monthly.
Honestly, I'll tell you this. Honestly, I don't know how the universities are surviving. I don't know. Incidentally, I was at a public lecture, inaugural lecture, some time ago at the University of Benin, and the Vice Chancellor, Professor Lillian Salami, mentioned this.
Okay.
She was lamenting. It was a huge crowd of eminent people. She was lamenting that she was going through a siege by way of electricity bill. What is even so painful is that they are in a special, what do they call it now?
A quota where you have.
Yes, they are paying special
yes.
fees or whatever.
Exactly.
And they need not be there. Because it's more of social service, come to think of it. She lamented. I pitied the woman that day because she said it louder.
With that, we've come to the end of the world news. But before we go, let's take a look at some top stories that made headlines. We brought to the report. We say flash flood swept through a popular elephant sanctuary in northern Thailand on Thursday, forcing the evacuation of about 100 elephants and tapping dozens of tourists amid urgent pleas of help. Dramatic videos and images from the Elephant Nature Park near the city of Shanghai Mai show dozens of elephants wading through belly-deep waters to find safety on higher ground. And a provincial governor said at least 78 people have died after a boat capsized in Lake Kivu in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Governor of South Kivu Province, Jean-Jacques Purusi, said that 278 people had been on board the boat before it overturned. Up to 600 people were shot dead in a matter of hours by Al-Qaeda-linked militants in an August attack on a town in Burkina Faso, according to a French government security assessment that nearly doubles the death toll cited in earlier report. The new figure would make the assault, in which civilians were shot dead as they dug trenches to defend the remote town of Balogo, one of the deadliest single attacks in Africa in recent details. Finally, the Palestinian Ministry of Health said at least 18 people have been killed in an Israeli airstrike on the Tulkarem refugee camp in the occupied West Bank. The Israeli military said that its fighter jet had carried out the attack on Thursday in coordination with Israel's internal security service, the Shin Bet. That's our package. Thanks for watching. Edna Zagarik is my name. Good afternoon.